Okay, I think we're live. Happy Saturday to everyone. It's my friend's birthday. Shout out my friend Chris, who will never see this. I'm not sure how many people on a Saturday at 11 PST. Not sure how many people are going to be logging in today to watch me walk on my treadmill, but maybe we'll catch a few stragglers, huh? We're going to speed this up a little, because why not? When's the game tonight? Is game 2 not tonight? Oh, it's not. It's tomorrow? Wow. Sunday. What in tarnation? What's up, Marcus B? Just walking on my desk treadmill, man. I know it's a bad hair day. It's Saturday. What can you do? I haven't heard that phrase in a long time. What in tarnation? Now I'm curious. Thanks, Crazy Trains. Now I'm curious on now the origination of the word tarnation. Used to express exasperation, frustration. Oh, tarnation. If Teddy had been elected, we'd never have come to this. What in tarnation? Yeah, I got this set up because I was sick of sitting at my desk for so long and my posture fucking got really bad. You look famous. I mean, I will tell you this. When I worked in Vegas for a while, well, I lived in Vegas for a long time, and I worked at a lot of restaurants on the Strip. And every time I had my hair was much shorter, but every time people would tell me I look like Jim Carrey. That was literally all the time they would tell me that. To the point where people would be like, has anyone ever told you you look like, and I'd stop them, I'd be like, let me guess, Jim Carrey. And they say, oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know. All I'm saying is, it will be a super sad day when Jim Carrey does pass away. But if they need to have someone play him in a movie, maybe that's my chance. Maybe that's my time to shine. But I was always a fan of Jim Carrey, and maybe I think I have his like mannerisms because I watched him a lot growing up. I don't know if I look like him, but I also had a lot shorter hair, but I kind of wish I was famous, obviously, if I could make money off of it. I hate when, does anyone else use Brave browser? Oh, this is Chrome, that's why. There we go. So what y'all up to tonight, whatever. You guys interested in crypto at all, or did you guys just kind of fall into this channel? Because I can talk about literally anything. So I hold Dog, which is a token on Bitcoin. It's a Runes. It was doing very well last week. I mean, a lot of tokens were doing well, and they are not doing well this week, but I'm a big fan of Runes, though, and Dog specifically. But obviously, I'm biased. I hold it. But it's really simple, in a sense. Doge, and then Dog. It's just Doge without the E, and it's on the biggest network ever, Bitcoin. So it's kind of just one of those like no brain plays, and if it works out in hindsight, everyone will be like, that's obvious. Is the first Dog meme coin on Bitcoin. Of course it's going to do well, but yeah. Does anyone else, I mean, not that anyone's in here, but does anyone else know that the Phillies are playing in London right now against the Mets? The stadium looks awesome. And while we're talking about sports, has anyone seen the editing team on when it comes to video editing for the Boston Celtics is top notch. They're like top tier echelon right now. Like they crush it. And whoever manages that and whoever is their editor needs to be paid a lot more. I guess I don't know how much they're being paid, but very good. Very, very good. As you can tell, I'm just scrolling Twitter, or X, if you will. What are you guys doing on Saturdays? What do you guys fill your Saturdays? I mean, Saturdays used to be for cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. What are you guys doing now? Obviously, if you're here, you're on YouTube, but like, what else are you doing? You're gonna clean your house? You're gonna journal? Saturdays are good journaling days. Do you guys work at Monday through Friday and today's your off day? Do you guys work in maybe hospitality? Maybe you work later tonight? What's going on? What's going on out there? For anyone who is watching, we're just walking on a treadmill. That's about it. I mean, I'd love to talk about anything. If anyone wants to drop anything in the chat, or I can just randomly talk about stuff. I mean, this is a crypto channel, but some people come in here and they don't know what crypto is, and they're just seeing a guy walking on a treadmill, and we can talk about anything. The two worlds that I really have no understanding of are shoes. People who are in the shoe industry, who like love Nikes and stuff. I don't really understand the dynamics of that, so I don't have much to say. I guess fashion in general. And then cars. I don't really know a lot about cars. But everything else I feel like I can talk about. Oh, and from last stream, anime. I know nothing about anime. I had someone who taught me a bunch about anime last time. I don't know if he's here, but yeah, the crypto market in general is really interesting. You have what seems like what everyone's been saying they wanted in the past when it comes to like clarity and like regulation coming in. And then you have the most wildest, you know, everything is just about meme coins and like hyper attention, and like it seems so, not in a bad way, but it just seems really desperate, and it makes sense. I think people lost a lot of money during the bear, and I think people they understand the game more. It's kind of like, you know, follow the influencer who you think is getting the deals and try to get in early and out early, or else you get screwed. But I don't see any plays on fundamentals, whether they were even fundamental plays last two cycles. One can make that argument anyway, too. But yeah, this cycle so far just seems hyper fixated on, yeah, meme coins and just really quick attention grabs. But there's still a lot of people building really great tech and really great stuff in the space. It's just, do they have enough runway to last until there's enough regulation to basically eliminate all the scamminess. So here's how I see it, the latter kind of working is regulation takes out like the worst of the worst scammies and makes it a little more risky for people who run scams to run scams. So then maybe that will, the amount of people who intentionally just come in to scam maybe get smaller and smaller as regulation kind of like increases. And then that liquidity needs to go somewhere else. So then maybe it goes to projects who are, focused on compliance. And then we get, an actual, functioning industry. Who knows how long that will take or if it happens at all. I also think there's a possibility that whenever all the cookies crumble, if you will, there might only be Bitcoin that comes out of it, and Ethereum. But I'm 80-20 on Ethereum too, lasting long term. I think there's a really high likelihood that it's just simply blockchain technology that survives, and Web 2 companies can just kind of attach onto the blockchain and continue on, and like all of the like Web 3 company, like everything else really just dies. And like, yeah, I think that's a possibility. Like if one of these social apps, which I think Twitter might be the best, or might be the first, is to lay out, like, implement some type of social currency. We kind of already see it, right? Likes and retweets and requotes, they are some type, it already is a type of currency. It's just the conversion isn't like one-to-one in any way. The conversion is kind of like using the currency as leverage to get like deals and stuff. Or as we do see, sometimes you do get payouts. So it is almost like a one-to-one conversion if you have enough views to get paid out by Twitter. So, I mean, we already see it. It's I think it's just about, but then, there's the question of what if they're all bots? Like that's kind of weird to think that we're finally getting to the point where we're converting social attention with these little likes, hearts, and clicks, and converting that into a currency. But then we come to find out, what if all of the likes and clicks are just bots from an algorithm? Really, really weird if you start kind of going down that rabbit hole. But I don't know. I definitely think we are kind of converging onto like a consumer and creator economy. That's it. You're either one or the two. Can you buy BTC at 70K and hold? I can't see that word. That's the walk? Can you buy BTC at 70K? Can you? Or, I mean, yeah, if it's money that you don't mind seeing potentially going down to 40K, yeah. Absolutely. I definitely see Bitcoin between $250 and $500,000 eventually. I think Bitcoin will suck up all of the value of fiat as we start to interact more, as machines start to play a role in, you know, in doing most of the work that we need. Yeah, I think a native internet currency is definitely needed, and obviously there's a lot that's going wrong with the dollar, which is, you know, the dominant currency. So I think Bitcoin going up is a no-brainer. It's always just about timing, and can you turn off the noise when it comes to all of these big corporations fighting each other to basically get as much Bitcoin as they can. I think that's the game right now. Can't AI ruin it by mining it so effectively? Yeah, I mean, I can play out that scenario too in my head. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I do always think, I don't think there is such thing as a perfect currency. And so, yeah, I do kind of think Bitcoin can still be heavily manipulated, kind of like the Federal Reserve does to the dollar. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin isn't still going to be the most valuable thing. So it's kind of like, you know, imagine the time when everyone was still trading like seashells for stuff, and like someone was like, hey, I hear these dollar bills are going to be valuable one day, and you just start collecting dollar bills on the cheap, knowing that the Federal Reserve is going to come in and manipulate everything. Kind of the same thing. I think it's obvious as BlackRock and all of these entities enter the ETF space in Bitcoin, they're going to kind of control it. But that doesn't mean that, you know, it isn't the next play to be able to hold value. You know, again, this is kind of already assuming at a base there's no perfect currency, and yeah, if that makes any sense. But yeah, AI and quantum computing and stuff like that, definitely interesting. It definitely seems like, you know, any day in like the next 6 months, there can be a new like chip that can fucking break the SHA-256 algorithm or something. I mean, I don't know. I think what there's proof of, it's basically like, what's the next thing that the people with all the value, what's the next thing they can make everyone else believe, right? So just like we all believe the dollar has value, you know, what's the next big thing, regardless of the mechanics, right? Because the mechanics they're going to make so complicated that it's going to be too confusing. So you're just going to you don't have bandwidth to really understand what's going on. So you have to resort to trust, right? And so if what's the next thing that the next entity with all the value can they convince the large majority of the population has value? And I think that is going to be Bitcoin. I think it has been for a long time. You can kind of see, you know, it's in the charts, it's in it's in everything. Right? It's kind of been a slow, if you consider it, what was 2009, it's been a slow kind of rollout, but yeah, I think it's all about everything's about what can you make people believe, as we're going to see with all the fucking AI generated, deep fakes. It's all going to be about who can be the first and fastest to distribute something that looks real enough to make people believe. It's wild. Anyway, I was talking for a long time. Whoops. What do you guys think anything else survives whenever, you guys think USDT survives? Successful is a little subjective. I would say I'm definitely up overall with what I've invested, but I did lose like 80% of my all-time high portfolio value. So I can make the argument that at my all-time high of my portfolio value, if I consider that successful, then I am no longer successful. But even at the value it is now, it's still probably maybe 2 or 3 times what I've put in. But at my all-time high, I was at least 30 to 40x my initial investment. But yeah, I've definitely fucking round-tripped. So I don't know. Is that successful? Catch me on one day, I'd say yes. Catch me on another, I'd say no. Whoops. But last cycle I crushed. Unrealized gains. Lost about 20K. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. Leverage is the worst. I mean, I was trading those, what do they call them? Those like 3 short and like 3 long coins on KuCoin last cycle. I got wrecked. I actually probably lost a similar amount, around 20K. Because what happened was after Luna exploded, and get this, I was in a 3 short, one of those 3S coins. They were spot coins, but on KuCoin it was kind of like those, I don't know the name of them. But anyway, I was technically in like a low leverage short on Luna a week before it crashed. And I had sold it because it wasn't moving. That would have been my only trade I would have ever needed in my lifetime. It literally, I think, went under $1. But anyway, after that, then I started playing a lot more with the 3L or 3L and 3S coins, and it's obvious the exchanges just manipulate the hell out of it to like you're basically just slowly giving the exchange your money. I jumped in Luna with 3K when it hit $1. It's been up, I guess, after that, right? I still don't understand. people still like to hold on to Luna and FTX for some reason. I don't know. Um, but I think my best plays were probably, there was a token called BQX, which then became Voyager, and I was in BKX very early. I think that did like a 35 or 40x. Um, I was in Metal MTL at around 25 cents. I think that went to close to $8. Um, what else? Oh, I was in Elrond before eGold. There was a lot of tokens last cycle which did a, what's it called, rebranding. And a lot of them actually did pretty well. Because it kind of starts a new chart and people like forget about the old token. Classic Luna now it's called. It's worth nothing. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what the actual expectation of an investor is. I understand the whole, like, you can make the argument that nothing is worth it in the industry, kind of like everyone thinks the whole industry is garbage, which I can understand their argument, but I mean, when you're talking about a token that literally was kind of a pyramid scheme, and it literally, the house of cards dropped out. But like I was saying earlier though, at the end of the day, it's valuable if a bunch of people say it's valuable and hold it. And like that's a very interesting dynamic. It really is. It's kind of like the proof of there's value in numbers, right? Because there can be someone who's saying, you know, dog poop is worthless, right? But if you can get 1 million people to collect their dog poop and start trading it for services, dog poop becomes valuable, right? And that's a weird. And so we have to kind of force ourselves to be like, that's true, but I'm going to keep continuing that, you know, it's the dollar bill is the really thing that's really valuable, not the dog poop. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely that I've talked to many builders who I know are actually they're like, they love the idea of technology actually making life more efficient. I've seen many builders and developers. It's just about, do they have enough runway to last through the Wild West to make it through? That's the hardest part, because liquidity gets sucked up into all these fucking Iggy coins and Hulk Hogan coins, and like that's the money that needs to go to these devs that are building awesome stuff to give them runways to keep building, but it's getting evaporated. But that's the game. Like, I understand. I mean, everyone feels this lack of abundance out there, and everyone is like really heightened, and they want to go collect all the money and hoard it so that they can, you know, they can survive. I understand the game. You just, you know, you kind of wish the game would kind of, it would be awesome to be able to match like true objective fundamentals, if that makes sense. It would be awesome if that was a little more the case, kind of like last cycle, rather than everything is just, you know, you can sit on Twitter and say like there's breaking news of a bridge getting knocked down in Maryland. And if you can, and then within within 1 minute after breaking news comes out of a bridge collapsing, there's a bridge token on Solana, right? And then for the next 24 hours, everyone's trading because of a breaking news headline. And that's weird. I understand that the tech allows us to do that, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I just think kind of like what I think most meme coins are, especially on like breaking news headlines, it's kind of like the infancy, like the, what was that old gaming system that everyone had before the first Atari? It's like the infancy Atari version of like of true social currencies and like true that are tied to like celebrities. I think that'll definitely be a thing. I think there'll definitely be some type of standard to where you have celebrity and their like net attention, and then you have people being able to kind of invest in them. I do see that playing out. I think there will be a more, and it makes sense to kind of have the token be their name. But I think it will be heavily regulated. There will be rules, more like clear rules on how you can like invest in an upcoming YouTube star or invest in an upcoming TikTok star. Like, I definitely think that's going to be a thing. And right now we're kind of just in the infancy of that. And what's unfortunate is that a lot of people, because it gets a bad rap, because it is, they're kind of coming in and scamming because the regulations aren't in place yet, but it's going to make a lot of people turn away from it, and then it's going to come back eventually, and they're going to miss out because that will be a thing. Everything's like some sort of, like, I think the idea of gambling is hitting like an exponential peak where it's just going to fucking skyrocket because you have all of these things converging. You have this AI tech, biotech converging into making, you know, such a abundant, efficient work, and like having people being able to live to like 300. You have, you know, manual labor and everything becoming less valuable, and human labor, humans in general, becoming less valuable. And you just have this increase, and everyone's just trying to gamble to get lucky because that's the last thing left to do. Obviously, digital currency is the future, can't beat it. But the control over people and knowing exactly what people are buying and selling will be the cost. Absolutely, 100% agree. I definitely think one day, my whole theory, I have a bunch of videos on this, is that one day we're all going to open our banking apps, and you know when they force you to say, click, I agree to terms of service, and they have like 100 pages that no one reads. In one of those 100 pages, it's going to be, by clicking terms of service, I agree that I'm converting all of my fiat into USDC. And then people are going to start spending money and not even know they're using crypto. And in this, I mean, they're not even knowing they're going to be using blockchain and USDC. And that's how the masses get onboarded without them even knowing. And it's through payments. It's not gaming. It's not art. The masses will come onboarded via payments and forced payments. And then for those smart enough to read the terms of service and not click, I don't agree, it's just a matter of time till 3-4 months. They like, hey, we'll give you a free Dunkin' Donuts to transfer all your fiat into USDC, or we'll give you 2% of your fiat to convert it into USDC. They're just going to incentivize you. And then, you know, if you don't do it for another 6 months, then they're going to say, well, your fiat's not worth it, so you have to transfer it to USDC. And yeah, that's how I see it playing out. Can control people's ability to buy and sell. Yeah, absolutely. Yosef, what's up, my friend? I mean, if I had a way to like give people top tiers of fan awards, you would be number one. I really think so. You'd be my number one fan on YouTube, at least. I have some TikTok people, but yeah, you're a real one. What's going on, Yosef? Happy Saturday. What's going on? So far, I've been describing how I think everything plays out. I'm not sure of the timetable, but I'm pretty sure of the direction. I wonder if they can force people only to use USD. Of course they can. That's exactly how it's going to play out. I don't think Tether survives. I think it's just USDC. And then USDC, and then there's going to be a basket of bank coins, like JP Morgan coin will have their own stable coin, Wells Fargo coin. All the big banks will have their own stable coin, and then those will kind of be, USDC will be like the umbrella currency, and then all the bank currencies will be under that. And then those will be the only, the only thing you'll be allowed to pay your taxes with. They'll be like the only legal tender, legal currency will be USDC and all the bank coins. Nothing much, watching the charts. Yep. I mean, it's been pretty rough. I think the fucking GME Roaring Kitty guy just messes up all markets. Getting ready to make some purchases on Monday. Oh, so traditional finance. You're not buying cryptocurrencies. You're buying, what are you buying on Monday? I think XRP stays around. I think there's no chance XRP stays around. I disagree. I think XRP and Cardano are the best examples of just great ways to somehow convince people, you know, of being community members of, I don't know. I think XRP is a perfect example of this, like, this like buildup of people convince themselves, like, because it's been like sideways for so long, and just because there's been no action on it so long, that eventually one day we're going to wake up and everyone's going to realize XRP is the thing, the currency everyone uses. It's like, come on, guys. I'm buying, oh, if you're buying crypto, why do you got to wait till Monday? And what are you looking at? I mean, if I had dry capital, I'd be going into Runes. I think we talked about this last time. I'd be going into Dog on Runes and maybe a couple others. If it comes to like crypto, I think I'd start stacking CryptoCoin, Crypto.com, probably Shiba Inu. I feel like the banks are going to be using XRP's technology. No chance. There is no chance, in my opinion, that banks are going to be using XRP technology. And even if they did, that has nothing to do with the price of XRP. XRP, if anything, was just a mechanism for them to suck liquidity out of retail in order to invest in their tech for banks to use. But the token XRP is not gonna, it's not equity in the technology. So I don't know. Those are just my opinions. Obviously, maybe I'm also biased because I hate most of the XRP maxi fucking influencer people. But yeah, I don't know. Waiting to see if things make one more leg down. Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea. Good dollar cost average down. If you have price targets, you know, you can layer them down. But Yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin kind of scares me because it looks like a double top on the daily chart. Um, but I guess I think that at the end of the day, if you have to make a bet on things are like everything's going crazy and like there's going to be wild events, there might be huge swings, but at the end of the day, I think Bitcoin is king and it fucking crushes. I don't know about other altcoins. I'm jumping in BOME, Book of Meme right now, otherwise Pepe. I would go Pepe over Book of Meme. Um, I think, if we play it out a year or two, I think Book of Meme disintegrates, and I think Pepe is still around. But I'm telling you, I think the meme coin that will outperform all meme coins right now is Dog, which is a runes on Bitcoin. I think that simple narrative is so obvious in that Bitcoin is the largest network. Bitcoin now has meme coins. As we know as cryptocurrency people, dogs do the best, and so it makes perfect logical, too much sense that the runes dog on Bitcoin will be it has the most liquidity. Yeah, but not Doge. Doge is different. What I'm talking about is dog. It's Doge without the E. Dog. It's a rune. Dog is a rune on Bitcoin. It's a meme coin on Bitcoin. And I think it's at an $800 million market cap. And the whole goal is to be the number one meme coin. And it really, if you think about it, their path there, it's simple because it's on the network that has all of the liquidity. Bitcoin is huge. And so I think it's not as easy to buy, although Magic Eden and Xverse have made it a lot easier. But I think getting in now is awesome because once the systems are in place to make it easier to buy, and it's not even listed on a top tier exchange yet. It's not even listed on Binance or KuCoin or any of those. And it's already at an 800 million, I think, market cap. And so I think eventually it'll be the number one meme coin. As they're onboarding people onto Bitcoin, I think Dog is the play. It's just my opinion. And I do hold Dog. I am invested in it. And all the people who were, it was a free and fair launch because Dog was only airdropped to people who held Runestone. It was great market dynamics. There's no pre-mine. It was a true free and fair launch. The fairest launch probably since Bitcoin. It's led by, check out Leonidas on Twitter. He's kind of leading the marketing reins, if you will, but really great project, I think. And again, it's super simple to understand, and it's not meaning you don't have to overthink it. You know it's a Bitcoin, or you know it's a meme coin. It's a meme coin on the biggest network, Bitcoin, and it's a dog, and everyone loves dogs. Like that's been proven in the crypto space. Dog coins do the best. So it's literally dog on Bitcoin. It's that easy. And then people will be like, it's kind of like this, you start to play mind games. You start to trick yourself and you say, There's no way, that's too easy. There's no way. But then when it happens, then in hindsight, you'd be like, that was the easiest play of all time. Dog on Bitcoin. Boom. That's it. The thing about Bitcoin is what, maybe can 10x at this point? Yeah, but you're not investing in Bitcoin. It's a meme coin. It's at 14 sats right now. It's at under a penny, the dog token. You have to think, though, that there's still a shit ton of... Just imagine, right, when Bitcoin makes its leg up from, after this recent all-time high, 70K to whatever it's going to next, there's a bunch of people who have a shit ton of Bitcoin, and it's going to be easier to stay on that chain and just buy into dog. I think runes are very, very undervalued. There are a shit ton of them, but I think there's ones that are going to do great that are already made, and there are probably ones that haven't been made yet from when people realize. When runes has its kind of like NFT or DeFi summer, that's when dog will do great, and then I'm sure there'll be other ones that do great, but I don't know. I'll stop talking about dog. I don't mean to talk about it the whole time. But Bitcoin in general, I think, is also just a safe investment, even if it is, I think it's going to go to like 250 to 500. So that's what, 7, 14, 21, 28, 4 to 6x still. Memes have been doing great, yeah, since the beginning of the year. Yeah, absolutely. And it sucks for people who, what's interesting is it sucks for the people who, because everyone says, you join one cycle, right? And then you learn the next cycle because you round trip, and then you crush the next cycle, right? But that's because they've all kind of relatively been the same, as in how liquidity flows down from Bitcoin to majors to mid caps to micro caps. There's always been a flow, and that's happened every cycle, and so that's what you learn. But now, for the people who learned last cycle and they're trying to crush this cycle, it's completely different. It's just meme coins, and so it sucks. In my opinion. But that's the game. You can't complain. When fucking Steph Curry comes into the NBA and changes the whole game to everyone's shooting threes now, it sucks, but guess what? That's the game now. So yeah. The whole crypto market cap is still nothing. Correct. In comparison to, gold or all of the derivatives market, yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin can still do 5x, 350, easy. I don't know in one cycle, I'm not sure. Shiba and Doge took off first. Yeah, I think. It is going to be interesting now that I think, like I said, Bitcoin, I'll bring it up one last time. Bitcoin does have meme coins now, so it's interesting that there'll be, you can buy meme coins. It's going to be either on Bitcoin, you have Ethereum Classic or Ethereum Native, you have Base Network, and you have Solana. There's a lot of places now to launch these meme coins, so it is going to be interesting to see. Maybe they won't run, but then to counter that, though, that means the liquidity is spread out, but if we have more participants, then that can counteract the kind of diversity of the chains. It's all about onboarding new people. That's how every cycle's been. So, but again, I think it's going to be really difficult because the last time everyone was onboarded, everyone was getting $900 stimulus payments, so people had money. It's different now. No one has money. So I don't know. I don't see the clear path on how everyone's onboarded other than, like I was saying earlier, almost forcing them to use USDC in your banking apps, and then all of these gambling apps come out where now Robinhood bought Bitstamp. So now you kind of start to see these dynamics of they're making it they're going to make it really easy for everyone to kind of buy these things and not even know they're using crypto or blockchain technology. They're going to just think they're gambling. And it's going to be almost like baked into your banking apps. Watch. It's going to be crazy. I bet one day, like one of these banks, Wells Fargo, you'll see a little notification of a little dog on the bottom, being like you want to invest in dog from your banking app. Watch. Watch. The game is to take everyone's money and throw them off. Of course, yeah. Extraction of capital, extraction of value. But that's why you have to choose your conviction and just stay in it. Because if you stay in it, they can't ever take it from you at a low price. That's why you buy your Bitcoin and you fucking never sell, regardless of the price. But there's not many super high conviction plays like that. So then you fucking trade and try to outperform Bitcoin at certain parts of the cycle to collect more Bitcoin. Kind of how, like, when my first cycle was 2017, that was literally the only game you play, because there was no stablecoin. It was only Bitcoin, and everything had Bitcoin pairs. So the only game in town was trade Bitcoin and alts to get more sats, to get more Bitcoin. That was the only game in town. And now stablecoins kind of messed that up, but I think, me personally, I think that's still the game, is to collect as much Bitcoin as you can. But that's just my opinion. But it is easier now to, trade in USDC kind of as in a traditional market to get more USDC to take out, to buy stuff, maybe a house, maybe blah, blah, blah. But I think if you're in crypto, that money should stay in crypto and your goal should be collect more Bitcoin. But that's just my opinion. I do think it's a problem not to take profits. I mean, correct. A very individualistic or very, what's it called? Personal. Yes. I think it's okay if you have, say you have your 100% portfolio, right? I think it's okay to have, 10, 15, 20% in Bitcoin that you never take profits from. I think that's fine. It's a 30-year plan. But with everything else, yeah, I think it's okay to have a percentage of your portfolio to kind of just trade with different levels of risk and different targets to take profits. Absolutely. But I think if you just go to the beginning of Bitcoin, it only goes up long term, and the only way to win that game is to never, take profits, because you never know the timing. So that's my kind of theory with the whole profit taking. The overall end goal is to have as much Bitcoin as possible. Hands down, yes. For the people who were early enough, which I don't really like saying we're still early. I hate when people say that, actually. But there's kind of still a semi-earliness, I guess, but to the point where, yeah, like if you're in crypto now, I think stacking Bitcoin is still the best play overall. I see it kind of like, I think Bitcoin is kind of like a housing market almost, with limited land. And yeah, I think kind of how people pay mortgages to buy property, I think that can definitely happen with mortgages to own one Bitcoin. Something along those lines. And I think, right, because it only makes sense because there always has to be this narrative of a certain generation it wasn't fair, right? And so like now the people trying to buy houses saying it's not fair. All of our parents bought houses for $35,000 and they were working, regular full-time jobs. We never had the chance. You have to imagine that's going to be the case with Bitcoin too. Like kids who are 4 years old now are going to be like, we actually had no chance to buy Bitcoin. And I think it's unfortunate, but that's why we're basically responsible for like buying a house now when it's $35,000 so we can give it to our kids. I'll check out Dog. Thanks for the input. Absolutely. Later, Kendall. Enjoy Saturday. I would suggest, maybe Magic Eden, I think, is the best way or easiest way, I think. But it's Dog, Go to the Moon, or Dog, and then follow Leonidas on Twitter for updates and all that stuff. I'm teaching my daughter now about, oh, cool. How old is she? I'm leaving my Bitcoin. How do you plan, or what's your mechanism in place for like the inheritance style? Are you just teaching her like where to find the seed phrase? Or to where just to find the keys to the Bitcoin wallet? I'm curious how you're doing that because I'm sure there are like formal ways to do it now with like agencies. I'd imagine, but I'm curious. A, I'm curious how old she is. B, I'm curious on what you're teaching. Like, she's 16. Oh, okay, older than I thought. I don't know why I would think she was younger than that, but awesome. Oh yeah, she's excellent. Then now, here's the interesting. I mean, obviously, you love your daughter, you want to trust your daughter, but if you're teaching her, like, in a sense, here's what is confusing in my head, is if you're playing the game of I don't want to trust any other entity with passing it down to her, that means that I have to set in place and teach her, if I pass away, unfortunately, tomorrow, here are the keys to the Bitcoin. That means that she has to know the keys. So what happens if you don't pass away? And she's like, maybe I want to spend this Bitcoin. That's the thing that's in my head that I'm playing with. It's like, obviously, if you want anyone stealing your Bitcoin, at least it's your kid, not the agencies or banks or anything. But I'm a little curious on how that works. Putting things into a trust. Okay, so now how does that work? Does the trust, is it a multi-sig? So the trust has one signature and then you would either need your signature or your daughter's to get the key? How does that work? Very, very curious now. Like, I wish there was a way for you to like jump in this live and I could like talk to you, but we kind of are. It's just there's a delay and you have to type. But I'm curious about that trust. And like, is the trust like, are they an established trust company who's now integrated being able to store Bitcoin? Or are they like a new trust company who like focuses on how to manage Bitcoin for inheritance purposes? Curious. I don't have any worries of someone taking my Bitcoin because she has her own wallet. I don't have any worries of someone taking my Bitcoin. I guess I don't understand that because she has her own wallet. I guess I don't understand the dynamics of what does happen if you do pass. Like what gets put in place? What's the execution? Like if you were, which is actually an interesting concept that I literally just popped in my head. If you as an entity, as an individual are a smart contract, what happens? What's the execution of the smart contract once you unfortunately are eliminated? That's what I'm curious to know. But now that made me think of, wow, what if what if one day we're born, all babies are like injected with a smart contract inside of them? Oh no, now I might, that's not good. That's really cool and interesting. I want to make a movie now. Like instead of a social security number, you get injected with a smart contract. That's cool and scary at the same time. And plausible, I bet. And then like depending on your status, are you a smart contract on Ethereum or Solana? Like, do you get to choose what smart contract your baby gets injected with? Interesting. Anyway. Hold on. I'm going to go get a protein bar. Hold on. Gotta jump back on. Okay, we're back. Sorry if the crumpling of the paper is annoying. Imagine the pressure of being like a Bitcoin trust company. I'm gonna move this so you don't hear me chewing. Okay. What else is going on? You guys paying attention to like Iggy Azalea and all that stuff. I'm actually excited we got a dip down. This might be the last dip below all-time high before we take off. Could be. It does seem like that kind of every other day, what the market convinces you of, the opposite happens. But I swear the best, and I've never executed successfully on it yet, which makes me think I'm an idiot, but every time I add up, because I have obviously multiple wallets and a little money on a couple exchanges and all that stuff. I have a spreadsheet, and every time I add up all of my wallets and stuff, the next day the market usually dumps 10 to 20%. Literally every time. And so like there's something subconsciously going on with like my mind recognizes, oh, the market's been doing well lately. Let me add up my portfolio value. And that's like a local top signal every time. And I've never added them up, the portfolio up, and been like, you know what? I bet the market dumps tomorrow. Let me sell some. Even though I could, yeah, anyway. I did that a couple days ago. I added up the portfolio value, and then the GME roaring kitty thing happened, and then the Bitcoin dumped for no reason. Not dumped, but actually alts really got crushed. It wasn't really Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm really interested to see, like, I'm really interested in January of 2025 after the election. Like, where are we? That's what I would love to just know. I wouldn't mind if I could just go there and sign a contract saying, like, just send me to the future. I want to know, and I promise I won't make any trades. Like, I don't want to make insider trading profits on it. I just want to be there already and see what happens. We've been knocking at 71K. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That double top looks kind of scary. It looks similar to the double top from the last cycle. That's why it's a little worrisome. Like if you chart out the daily, it looks really similar to, what is that, November 21. But we shall see. We've been knocking at, oh, I read that. Exactly 100%. Yep, the election year is going to be a boots for the whole crypto. Yeah, I don't know. Here's my thing now. What I'm thinking is, crypto Twitter has trained me in, trying to find what the majority think is going to happen, and then the opposite happens. And so now, again, this could also just be biased with how you're consuming. But I think everyone thinks they have an objective feed, but I'm pretty sure everyone is now saying they think Trump's going to win. And so now I actually don't think he is going to win. How about that for a mind thing? I think everyone actually expects it now, which is weird. We've now been conditioned to think like the craziest thing is going to happen. But now I actually don't think Donald Trump wins. But I don't necessarily think that if he doesn't win, that necessarily the markets tank. I guess I just think that as a side note to the election, that's what I kind of think is going to happen with the election. Will it be Biden or a last minute nominee? I'm not sure. But yeah, I would love to just be in December or January, December 24 or January 25. Be like, oh, that's how it played out. Interesting. But then I hate having that mindset because then I almost get into this like autopilot in my life because that's like the next thing I'm interested in, which is really sad as I'm saying that. Yeah, because then you kind of live your life 6 months at a time, and like within that 6 months, so much can happen, and so much life can be lived. But it's like I'm just waiting to get to fucking January, but that's no way to live. I think if I was objectively honest, yeah, my life is completely different since I've put in hours at charts and the crypto space in general. It actually has sucked a lot of life out of me, which is kind of sad to say, but I guess it's honest. My life has changed a lot since 2019. For the better or worse? I mean, I guess you could probably make arguments for both, but I overstand what you're saying. That's awesome. Part of me thinks that you actually wrote that intentionally, but is that even a word? Overstand? But it's like you're saying you understand, but like on a level more than understanding. That's awesome if that is the case. Or maybe it is and I've just never heard it. Oh, I guess so. Wow. I guess my intuition was right. Overstanding speaks to a degree of empathy of the part of the recipient or receiver. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think the negatives are, again, I spent a lot of time sitting at a desk, and I think that really messed up. It just my posture and my lower back put me back years. And then, secondly, yeah, I guess just the amount of hours spent, if I look at the behavior objectively, spent just looking at a screen and moving a mouse around. Those are like the negatives. I guess the positives are, not I guess, but the positives are definitely just like, I think you learn a lot more about life in general. I honestly think there's so many similarities in like looking at a chart or a stock chart, and like that can be your life, right? Like there can be local tops, there can be dips, but then there can be, in hindsight, that dip is still high compared to like previous dips, which makes sense. Like if you've been at a low point in your life and you hit another low point, sometimes even in that low point you can be like, wow, I'm still grateful that I'm not at that low point. And like there's so many similarities in charts, and like depending on if you're looking at the chart from a 5 minute or a 1 hour time frame, like so many similarities. But then if you're just looking at charts, you're not extracting that value that you learn from the charts into like real life. But again, to each their own. I think it's each person's choice to objectively decide when is too much, and hopefully take actions on that. Yes, overstand. Financial, better, okay. But this space does consume a lot of your, yeah, not, yeah, and even more than time, like bandwidth. Like, I've even noticed there was a time when I was more consistent with like, more like daily like journaling or like at least some sort of daily data collection on like my qualitative stuff in my life, and there's definitely a huge correlation with red days in the market and like not good days in my life and green days in the opposite. And it's like that's kind of scary. Like I don't like that at all. But I'm stuck. It's like it's like kind of like alcohol in a sense of it's socially acceptable kind of, which I don't drink alcohol, but it's almost that like I can admit to say I'm like addicted, but it's almost like socially acceptable, which is really sad. And maybe if I'll watch this later as a viewer of myself and maybe see if I don't know. Cuz it's almost like here's and this is even getting scarier and I'm being kind of honest. It's almost like I'm now in it, right? I've been spending lots of hours in it since 2017. I guess since 2018. 2017, I was kind of just like tinkering. So since 2018, I've put in a lot of life into this. And I guess I'm assuming that that time can equal better quality of life later. That's what I'm banking on, I guess. But at what point do I make that decision? And I guess maybe it's a value of portfolio in which I can be like, okay, I don't care to check the markets as much. Will I be able to do that? Will I ever get to that portfolio value? Lots of questions there. My brain has got rewired. Now red days, I get happy. Interesting, like Christmas. Okay. Well, that's great. That's actually really awesome that that happens for you because what I'm assuming, what that tells me is that you're not investing capital that you feel can be placed in better places. I guess for me, currently, I am struggling a little bit with like month to month finances. And like I do have I'm a videographer, so I've invested via credit cards because I couldn't get a small business loan in professional gear to like kind of operate as a freelancer. And so I have a lot of credit card debt kind of that's now being hit with like 28% and I'm getting crushed. So I think maybe that's the difference in why I can't see red days like you. So that's really awesome to hear from you because that means you're more balanced in your risk, I guess, and probably much smarter than me with daily operations. So good for you. Happy to hear that actually. Sacrifice now for the future. Yeah, that's kind of what it's at, but at what point can that be realized, right? It's almost like unrealized sacrifice or an unrealized better future, which is interesting. But yeah, I'm optimistic. I still trust myself. I also don't have a family. I don't have kids. That's also probably a big differentiator. Man, if I had kids, I would have no money in the market because I'd have to take it all out. I can barely afford myself. When I learned how to read charts and Forex backing, I was consumed by all the time I spent learning and losing money, but over a few years, things changed. Awesome. Excellent. Then yeah, that's definitely time well spent. If the value you got out of it was confidence and truly taking that time to learn and not just, I think there's a difference between some people take that time and learn and implement stuff after, and some people take that time to just develop really bad habits, which then crushes their entire life. So like, I don't think all time spent at charts is the same. And so I'm really happy to hear that. I don't know if it was a conscious decision on your part to be like, I understand that learning means making mistakes and I know I will get better, instead of going into it blind being like, learning just means I don't have to intentionally be learning and just spend time in the markets. So really, again, really happy to hear that for you. And I've made more money from crypto than stock, so I stayed in crypto. Good, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's important to understand your strengths. I think Trader Main is one of my favorite traders on crypto Twitter, and similar story. He traded Forex for a long time. I think he traded the, I forget what system he uses. But he learned that system in traditional finance and stocks, brought it to the crypto market, realized it followed the same pattern and you could make more, and then he's stayed mostly in crypto since. And that's amazing. Paid for 2 mentorships. Ooh, lost a lot of money. Not happy to hear that. But I guess if you think about it as paying, it's a different type of mentorship you paid for. You paid for the knowing what not to pay for. I guess if it's just a little mind thing you can do to see the positive in it, but it still sucks. I took it, paid off. Yeah, overall. So yeah, it was net positive still. So that's great. Knowledge is key, absolutely. Knowledge and intentional experience, because I think, like I was saying before, there are people who maybe have been through multiple cycles and they developed habits to where they just round trip each time, and they're not, it's almost like the knowledge has went through them, but it didn't stay with them. And so, yeah, I think, you know, again, not all time in the market is equal. I think it's all about intention. And I think the number one important thing is, if you get value from it, is if you truly start with money you don't need. Otherwise, I don't think you can intentionally learn, because you're too emotionally attached to that capital to where it doesn't allow you to learn, I think. Maybe at least not at the same rate. So that's the number one thing, I think. And a lot of people say it. It's like cliche and classic. You know, invest money you can afford to lose, and then that gives you the bandwidth to learn, I think. Of course, there are different cases where people maybe get lucky and they do spend capital they probably shouldn't and it works out, but I think in general, again, if your intention is to learn, learning with capital is better too than paper money, because it still gives you that sense of like, oh, I lost $20 today, that sucks. Rather than on paper, I lost a paper $2 million today. That doesn't teach you anything. Damn, what time is it? 12:30. Let's see how long I've been going. Oh, I'm almost at 3 miles. I'm not like a mile counter guy either. It's just curious. I think, let me see. Where did I put, oh. Oops. Sorry, hold on. Okay, well, I think an hour and a half is my stopping point. I think my battery on my camera might die too. So I think we're gonna cut it. Maybe I'll come in later today too. But Yosef, appreciate you coming in again. It's been a pleasure. I've actually learned a lot about you and from you, which is nice. It's probably I'm gonna probably learn more about that trust stuff you were talking about. Definitely want to implement some of that stuff. I mean, I don't have kids, but I mean, at least I have like sisters and brothers that I'd rather it go to. So appreciate you for putting me on that game, and yeah. I appreciate you. You know, I see you out in the comments on the video, so I appreciate it. I really do. The support's awesome. Sometimes it can be like you're screaming into the void. So again, appreciate it. Channel ever takes off and I get to be able to like award people, you'll get a fucking number one supporter badge. But yeah, catch you on the flip side. Enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your weekend. I don't know if weekends to you are weekends or not, but either way, hope there's good weather where you are. And yeah, I don't even know where the button is to end this stream, so I'm kind of just talking. Oh, there it is. All right, catch you on the flip